Hello and welcome to another tutorial video. Today we're going to be talking about the Ultimate Marketing Collection's book mockups or flyer mockups that you see on a lot of the different things um, throughout the collection in some of the pages of maybe the playbooks or even on the order forms. You'll see these mockups. And what I'm talking about are mockups that look like this. For example, a cover of a book or even the inside of the book. And these mockups, unfortunately, were not actions that I created with Photo Solutions Market. These were actual mockup actions that you can find at psdcovers.com, and there are instructions in the mockups folder um, that you are watching this video from, or if you're in your mockups folder, you will see a folder called book mockups, and it has a README file for instructions on what mockup actions you need to download and install. The good news is these are free actions. But I could not include these actions in the mockup set because these are not actions that I produced. But I am going to show you how to use them to create both the two-page spread mockup and also the cover mockup. So the first thing what we're going to do is once you've installed these, you're going to go over to your actions, and your actions should be installed. Now, um, the ones that we use are going to be, I have other actions in here, but you're going to be pretty much using the pamphlet 001 for the cover, and also the two-page spread, which is also listed in there as well. So let's start with the cover. So the first thing we do once these have been installed, and if you need to install one, all you need to do is come up and say, hit this little button here and say load actions, and that will open up your actions folder, and then you can load the actions. So if that's where you would install them. Once you downloaded them, you could actually even open this folder up and drag and drop the action directly into here, and then it would be ready for you to grab and install. So what we're going to do is start with the pamphlet one for the front cover. The first step is you click on step 1, and then you come down and hit play. And you let this sit and you let this run itself. What this is doing right now, it is actually preparing the action for you to just drag and drop your cover that you've already made. Now remember, if you've watched the other mockup video already, or if you have not watched it yet, some of the items that are mockups, you have to create your own mockup first. These are not things that you can double click on inside of the template and change right there in the template. The mockups that were created for the order form, for example, need to be created first and then dragged into those templates if you're going to do that. So this is our cover for our pamphlet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and bring in the front cover of our playbook. And we're just going to drag and drop that in. And what we're going to do is size this to fill. Now this is going to look a little strange, and you're going to wonder, why am I stretching this out? Why am I doing this? It's all okay. Don't worry about it. Just stretch it out and make it fit. It's not going to be exactly right when you first bring it in, but the end result will be. So we're just going to apply that, and also make sure that it's at the top. So bring this all the way to the very top. Then the next thing you need to make sure of is that is not a smart object. When you bring anything in newer versions of Photoshop, they will come in as smart objects. So what we want to do is right click on this and say rasterize layer. They need to be a rasterized layer for this to work. So the first thing that we're going to do now is we're going to go to the next step once we've got this sized in here. And again, remember, it is going to be distorted. Don't worry about it. We're just going to click on the step 2 and then come down and hit play. And this point, you pretty much just let it do its work. Unlike the other mock-ups where you have to do a lot of work and move things around and skew things and all that kind of stuff, these actions over at psdcovers.com really take the work out of making products, and they have a ton of other ones on there. So if you're looking for a different mock-up for maybe a coffee mug or anything like that, you want to go check those out, because psdcovers.com has a ton of different mockups, and that's where the book mockups came from. So we're just going to let this thing run, and it takes a little bit of time for it to go through all its steps. And then once it's done, there we go. There's our book. So if we want to put this on something, obviously what you want to do is come down and remove the background. So we're just going to come down and select the background, delete it, and now we can save this as a PNG file, and we have a copy of the book, a cover. If you want to, you can always, once you've removed the background, you can merge all the layers together by hitting Control-Shift-E, and now you just have a book. And you can rotate that book, and you can do whatever you want with it. So that is how you make the cover of a book. So the next one we're going to do, we can close these back down, is make our two-page spread. So I'm going to come up to my thing, do the same thing, hit Prepare Template, hit Play, and again let this sit and prepare itself. While this is happening, do not try to do anything else on your computer because it will screw up the process. So you do have to just let this sit and let it do its thing until it's done. As you can see, it's building all of the different things that it needs to have, but it's pretty cool. Very easy to use to make a book mockup. Alright, so once it's done, usually I always have to zoom out so I can see everything. So now we have a left pane and a right pane. So now at this point what we're going to do is bring in the two pages that we want to put on here, the JPEG images. So we'll bring those two in. And again, don't worry if they're a little bit too small because this book mockup is a very large file. So your pages may come in smaller like this, but don't worry, your end result will be fine. All right, so now that we have these here, what I'd usually do is like to grab both of them together and come down to the bottom here and do a free transform, just stretch it wide and stretch it tall. Again, just like the other one, don't worry if it's going to be, if it looks a little skewed, doesn't look right. And then of course we have to then move page 2. We'll move that one all the way over to the edge here. And now the two pages are there. Now remember, again, we need to not have these as smart objects. So rasterize the layer. And then at this point, we just come down to step 2, which is the add color, hit play, and let it do its thing. Sit back, relax, have a drink of coffee, water, whatever you want, and let it do its thing. Again, do not try to do things while this is happening. Don't click on the mouse, don't go browse the web because it is running something in Photoshop and it may see your mouse click, or if you're typing something to someone, it may stop the process. So you just literally need to take your hands off the keyboard, off the mouse, and let it do its process. And again, depending on how, intense this template is that it's doing, it, sometimes takes longer. This one takes a little bit longer than the cover did because it is doing two different sides, but the amount of time it would take to actually make a mock-up like this would be crazy. So these actions really, really save a lot of time from PSD covers. I can't speak more highly about them. I've tried to make mock-ups on my own of books, and they just don't come out very good. So the fact that this does all the work for me and will do all the work for you is great. So make sure you go download those. You should have a README file, like I said, in your folder that you would have expected to have some kind of a mock-up template in. You will see just a README file. So make sure you read that README file and it will give you the two templates that you need to download. Obviously there are more in there, so you can really pick and choose which kind you want, which style, and which vision you want. So here we go. That was it. So I'm just going to minimize this so we can see it. So there we go. There's our book. originally was just flat like this, and then once we ran the action, now we have that. And it's on a white background again. They're always going to be a white background, so I always remove the background layer. I just delete it, and then I save this as a PNG file. You can save it as a TIFF file if you want, but really you don't want to go in here edit anything. So usually what I do is I flatten this down again by merging all visible layers. You can always right click and say merge visible. Never say flatten, because if you say flatten image, it's going to put a white background behind it, and then you're always going to have a white background behind it. So never do that, especially if you're going to be dragging this over onto something else, and you want to have it be translucent behind it like you see now. So we're just going to say merge visible, merges everything together, and now we have a book. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Let's say, for example, you were doing an order form. Working with one of the order form templates. And I'm going to open one of those here on the front side. So this is how we created all of these book covers here all across this. So this is how you would create your book cover. And this is also how you would create your two-page spread. So for example, let's just say that this is the one that we were replacing. We would just delete that off the order form, and then we can just drag and drop this over. And you can see how big it comes in. That's why I said you don't need to really worry about the size, because you are going to downsize it. And now we have that two-page spread. Just like that. So that's how you create those. And really anywhere that you see any books mocked up, that is how those were created. So you're not going to be able to open this file up and replace this kid's image on here. That's not what these are for. These are all just placeholders for you to put your own images in. If you're not doing the Pressbook program like what's on this order form, you can always remove it and do whatever you want with it. But that's what the point of this entire marketing kit collection is it's something that's already prepared for you that then you can just remove the images and replace your own. But this is how you make your book covers and your inside pages for books. So if you have any questions, you can always give me a call or email me. Again, this is Sean D. Mint with Photo Solutions Market, and this is how you make the book covers and inside pages using psdcovers.com actions. Again, thank you very much and have a great day.